is Joy News Prime.
This is Joy News Prime here on Joy News on Multi TV. My name is Israelite. Coming up, 7 people confirmed dead in meningitis outbreak in the Brong-Ahafo region district of Tang. Confusion breaks out at news conference in Nkranza in the Brong-Ahafo region. Police in Accra arrest military officer said to be part of a car snatching gang.
And in business tonight, Bank of Ghana revokes licenses of 70 microfinance and money lending companies.
And first round of meeting between organized labor and government over recent utility tariff increases ends without much headway. There's also sports, entertainment, and our interactive segment all coming up in this bulletin, which is also available across Europe on ABN television on the Sky platform as well as Freeview Connect. Stay tuned. An outbreak of meningitis in the Tang district of the Brong-Ahafo region has been confirmed as pneumococcal, a more deadly strain of the disease. 7 people have so far died from the outbreak. The head of public health at the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Bedu Sarkodie, tells Joy News it's the worst form of the disease to be recorded in Ghana. He, however, says public education has intensified to contain its spread.
What we have in Tang, we have confirmed pneumococcal. And initially, they reported 12 cases, including 6 deaths. Fatality at that time was about 50%. I think for now, we have about 30 cases for 7 deaths. So with time, the fatality has come down. Now the awareness creation has started intensively, and then the people are now reporting early. Then also management at the health facility has also heightened.
I asked you if it's the first we have experienced this type in Ghana.
There have been some sporadic cases, but then this to the extent of about 30 cases, including 7 deaths. For this pneumococcal, it appears to be the first time. But then that's not to say that the first case of pneumococcal meningitis in country. Periodically, particularly in the children.
The figures.
I think that is what we have, which to that extent, to that magnitude.
Now, Joy News' Nesta Kafu-Ajoma is with a team of health experts currently in the Tang district and joins us live with the very latest on the outbreak. Good evening to you, Nesta. What have you gathered on the ground? Good evening, Nesta. If you can hear me, what can you tell us about the outbreak on the ground?
Yeah, what I've gathered interacting with the community members at Brohani is that they are really scared. They don't know what to do, and some of them are planning to evacuate from the area. They want to desert the area. Currently, the situation has not changed. No new cases have been recorded. No new deaths has also been recorded.
All right, so you have been with this team. What have they been doing on their first visit to the place?
Yeah, they have been doing what we call contact tracing. They are only tracing those who have been infected already and have either been treated and discharged or have died, and they are tracing them to the communities and to educate the community members on what to do or what not to do when they hear any sign of the disease.
All right, so we're told that this is happening in the Tang district. How widespread is it?
It is only in, according to the official, it is only in one community now. That is the Brohani community. So far, it is only in one community so far.
And how about the residents themselves? Are they being told how to, avoid contact or avoid becoming infected?
Exactly. That is what the team has also been doing. They've also been educating the people on how to relate to each other. And one interesting thing in Brohani is that they are the way they put up their buildings, they are too close and they don't have enough ventilation modes in there. So it is quite difficult to control the disease, but the health professionals have been telling them to not to be crowding in an area or to sleep in a room with a lot of people. And if they do that, they will stand at a higher risk of contracting the disease, because the disease is airborne, according to the health professionals. So they have been telling them to avoid lots of contact with lots of people, because one can be carrying the bacteria but would not exhibit the symptoms of the disease. So if that person comes into contact with another whose immune system is very low, coupled with other factors, that person might contract the disease and thereby also giving it out to other people.
Have they been able to say how this disease got into the community?
That is what they are investigating now. They are now investigating that one. But they have been telling me that this disease is mostly comes in the dry season or the harmattan season. So now we are in the harmattan season. So that is the prime factor for the disease cropping up now.
All right, thank you very much, Nestor Kafui Ajoma, joining us from tying in the Brahafo region. Meanwhile, Dr. Bedu Sarkodie has been cautioning the public to practice cough netiquette and avoid crowded places. He's also advising that people report immediately to the nearest facility if they experience any of the symptoms of the disease.
Reasons why the organism should penetrate the barrier, which is the protective barrier that prevents them from entering the bloodstream and further going into the settling on the meninges. And those conditions that promote the invasion include the dry weather, the harsh weather conditions, and the sandy nature of the air and the lack of humidity. I think these are the things. It makes the throats crack, and then based on the throats having cracked, and then the abrasions and the various lesions in the throat, the germs at this time, the meningococcus or any bacteria that is causing the infection, would penetrate through and break the barrier, get to the bloodstream, and settle on the meninges. So these are the conditions that make it possible for the organism to infiltrate and break into the protective barrier and then cause the infections.
Is it hereditary?
These are infections. So the infections, they are within the environment, settle in the throat, and when somebody coughs or speaks, we are very close to somebody, he coughs, sneezes at you, then from the throat, then you also inhaled some of these germs.
So it's easily spread?
Yes, indeed. Depending on the type, it can easily spread, okay. Particularly the Neisseria, which has potential for mass outbreaks, and when it happens to affect a particular area with the prevailing environmental conditions, then it can spread easily from one person to the other.
So is there a particular thing that I should watch out for, a particular symptom that one should watch out for before you know that you have this disease?
Yes, indeed. Meningitis typically presents with fever, headache, neck pain, neck stiffness, and then there's a condition you call photophobia. They don't like light. Like if somebody having shone light on you, then you have severe reaction to light, and they have a severe detest for light. I mentioned 3 main bacteria that cause meningitis, and I mentioned the Haemophilus influenza, strep pneumonia, and then Neisseria. The strep pneumonia has potential for high death rate.
Is that the one you call the pneumococcal?
That's the pneumococcal. It has a high death rate for the affected. and it can be as high as about 50% of the people being affected dying out of the disease. However, the good thing about that is the potential to cause massive outbreaks is not common or very typical with the strep pneumonia or the pneumococcal.
But the CSM has the potential to spread.
Has potential to cause massive outbreaks, but then the death rate or the fatality out of that is not as high as you have with the pneumococcal. Okay.
So when one has the pneumococcal, what's the survival rate, the percentage at which we know this person will survive?
The survival rate for the pneumococcal, I mentioned that it can go as high as 50%. That will mean that if the fatality is 50%, the survival rate is about 50-50. But then when treatment starts early, it can come down and the survival can go as high as up to about 70 to 80%.
You're watching Joy News Prime. In other news, confusion broke out at Nkranza in the Branhafo region Tuesday afternoon at a news conference organized by the MP for the area, Major Derek Odro, to address aggrieved residents who have had their deposits locked up in a microfinance firm in the town. Jasta Motors, an investment company, has been in the news in recent days over their clients' inability to retrieve their deposits. A 3-year-old girl who was kidnapped in the chaos was only yesterday rescued by the police, and the subsidiary radio station of the company was shut down yesterday after it was attacked by a mob of angry customers. Correspondent Anas Sabit joins us over the telephone with details of today's confusion at the news conference. Good evening to you, Anas.
Good evening, Israel.
All right, so right here on our screens, we're seeing some chaos, and we're seeing what apparently happens to be the DC being chased away from the scene of the news conference. Can you tell us more about that?
This evening, the MP from Nkranza North, Honorable Major Derek Odro, organized a press conference to speak to the abused clients who have their investments, locked with Jasta Motors and Investment Company. Well, after addressing the clients, the DCE from Nkranza North District, Honorable Kwejo Ege Juma, also showed up to also address the abused clients and then express or assure them that the government is doing everything possible to get their money back to them. But this didn't go down well with the crowd, as they prevented him from addressing them by hooting at him and then throwing sachet waters at him. Only for the timely intervention of the police, the DC wouldn't have left the place in good shape. So the police came in, and as you could see on the video, they tried to move him out of the scene for his safety. So that's exactly what happened this evening in Nkranza when clients tried or stopped the GC from Nkranza from addressing them in the same Jasta Motors issue.
Right, we're also told that there was a fetish priest involvement in this whole melee. What was this involvement of the fetish priest?
Yeah, if you could remember, during the district assembly elections, when the people of Nkranza boycotted the assembly elections, the fetish priest who did invoke curses on the management of Jasta Motors did invoke curses on East, and then vowed that if they try to conduct that particular district elections in Nkranza, they are all going to face their deaths. Well, this afternoon, he did do the same, invoking curses on management as well as all parties, including chiefs and authorities of Nkranza who played part in bringing Jasta Motors into the municipality. So it's not the first time. It has happened before, but this afternoon he did the cases once again. And then he says after 2 weeks, if the people of Nkranza do not receive their money back, then he calls on Antoine, Bochua, and a couple of other within the region to deal mercilessly with all those who play part in, bringing Jasta Motors into the region.
All right, this fetish priest, is he supposed to be like some official fetish priest to invoke curses and when such things happen?
Pardon me?
I'm asking if he's supposed to be like the official fetish priest for the area.
Yeah, he is. He's well recognized. I saw him, and the people confirmed to me that he's recognized in the community, and then they believe his cases will work. His care is not taken after 2 weeks, as he promised.
And what's the very latest on the kidnapping? We know one guy was arrested.
Yeah, relating to that, this afternoon, the Chichiman Circuit Court, remanded the suspect, who is one Eric Otu, a 23-year-old. He pleaded guilty, and the court has to take him into custody once again to reappear before the court on January 14th, where the court is going to charge him. And the young girl who was kidnapped was taken to the St. Teresa's Hospital in Nkanza this morning for medical checkup. And from the results of the hospital, she's in good shape and everything's okay with her. We had an opportunity to interact with the father of the 3-year-old girl, one Daddy Brown, who is the host of their morning, their sports program on Jerison FM. So he also confirmed that his daughter is in good shape, and he thanked God for the timely intervention of the police to get his daughter rescued.
All right, thank you very much, Anas, to be joining us from the Brahafo region. We're taking a break on Joy News Prime. We'll be back, though, with more stories. Don't go away. A 41-year-old man has reportedly taken his life at Odoko official town, a suburb of Accra. The deceased Ishmael Ashong, a mason and father of 4, was found hanging from an electric cable in his room on Tuesday. His body was discovered by his 9-year-old son in a room they shared the previous night.
Residents of Odoko official town, a suburb of Accra, were thrown into grief when they woke up on Tuesday to the shocking news that their 41-year-old neighbor had hung himself in his room. Ishmael Ashong, who was a popular figure at Odoko official town market, is known to be a hard-working mason. The father of 4 lives in a single room with his partner, who is the mother of his children. He was last seen with his partner, Evelyn Amwa, on Monday morning. According to her, they had a misunderstanding on Monday afternoon, so she left home and spent the night at a friend's.
We had no issues since last month. It was only on Monday evening he threatened to beat me up because I failed to lend him some money. I left home in the afternoon because he wanted to beat me up. I slept over at a friend's. I returned home this morning only to find my husband dead.
His friends tell Joy News that Ishmael had tried to take his life last year but failed.
What I can tell about Ishmael, I know Ishmael can do anything, because I always talk to him almost more than 10 years ago. But the thing is hunting me. I'm sure maybe, I can't tell. I'm not the family member, but I can tell maybe the spiritual thing is one of the guy. There's a bit spiritual thing inside what he is doing.
And are you saying you're not surprised?
I'm not surprised.
You're not surprised he's committed suicide?
I'm not surprised.
Why are you not surprised?
Also, if he's talking to you, he can stand here talking to you, but it will reach some place. You will forget that he's talking to you, and the man will go different.
He's most often absent-minded.
I think a month or 2 months ago, he came to me that he to kill himself. And I asked him, if someone that
he wants to kill himself.
If someone that you to kill yourself, he said yes. I said don't do that.
Did he give you reason why he said he wanted to kill himself?
Give me a trouble, but the guy is closer to that guy who passed away last month.
Do you can say hunting? Obey
Deba didn't hunting.
One could hunting. Oh no, my dear, and you could put nim. Yeah, nim. Did you have any hunting? Say on ye. First time. On your man could do on ye. It's the first time, you know. Only me could someone did ye. Or rap over that pen, I see him say, it's my shen, and when I run for bits here. And obey boon or them when the boys see no may.
Ishmael has been talking about suicide since last year. He used to say something has been pushing him to go commit suicide. He behaves strangely sometimes and does not understand what has been bothering him. He tried committing suicide last year, but was not successful. We advised him, but he didn't listen.
What I said, it was I didn't to me chin. I didn't chin his uncle. Or do I know I sang? I didn't chin his uncle. Do I?
Ishmael Ashare's body has since been deposited at the police hospital morgue.
The Accra Region Police Command has arrested a military officer and an accomplice said to be involved in car snatching operations. The two, Lance Corporal Kweku Michael and Barima Osei, a heavy-duty equipment operator, were both arrested on December 29, 2015, when they attempted to sell a stolen car in Accra. The Deputy Accra Region Commander, ACP Timothy Y. Bonga, addressed the media today.
In all, 4 suspects were paraded at the Accra Regional Command for 2 separate crimes. That was 24-year-old Lance Corporal Kweku Michael, handcuffed together with his accomplice Barima Osei. The two were arrested on 29 December 2015 when they allegedly attempted to sell a stolen car at Adabraka, a suburb of Accra. Addressing the media, the Deputy Regional Commander, ACP Timothy Y. Bonga, appealed to the public to help in the arrest of a 3rd suspect, Richard Opoku, who, according to the police, is on the run.
On Tuesday, 29 December 2015, at about 11 p.m., Lance Corporal Kweku Michael, dressed in a military uniform, and his accomplice hired a taxi cab with registration number GG717-15 from Tudu to Castle Osu. On reaching the self-traffic light, the military officer requested to use the washroom and directed the complainant to drive to the Independence Square. On arrival, the military officer visited the washroom as requested, leaving suspect Barima Osei in the taxi cab together with the driver. From nowhere, the military officer returned with a pistol, pointed it at the driver, and ordered him out of the car.
The 2 other suspects, Lester Mensah, a professional upholster, and Ortin Kwating, who is unemployed, were arrested after a robbery operation at Kwabenya on 27 December 2015. They allegedly tied the mouth of their victim, a shop owner, and made away with groceries and some other items.
On the 28th December 2015, at about 7:40 a.m., 3 men armed with a locally manufactured pistol attacked and robbed a shop at Kwabenya. The robbers approached the shop owner in her shop under the pretext of buying shower gel. As they waited to be attended to, they pointed the pistol at the shop owner, threatened to kill her, and forcibly tied her mouth and both hands with a sellotape. They packed the items from the shop into bags, after which they boarded a taxi cab with the registration number GW8845-15 and sped off. The victim, who was rescued by a passerby, contacted the police immediately, leading to the arrest of the 2.
Lance Corporal Kweku Michael, who sobbed throughout the parade, claimed he is innocent of the crime he is being accused of. But the police say he had earlier confessed to the crime before the parade.
You're watching Joy News Prime. We're taking a break. When we come back, we'll bring you business news.
Time now for business. My name is Eton Amsi. Now, there's some good news for customers of all the 70 companies that have been barred from operating by the Bank of Ghana. The umbrella body for these firms, that is Ghana Microfinance Institutions Network, has indicated that all the necessary work was done to retrieve depositors' funds before the ban was imposed. The central bank today announced revoking the provisional licenses of 70 microfinance companies following their failure to meet the requirements for full operations. Yao Jemfi is the executive director of the Ghana Microfinance Institutions Network.
In fact, with the list that they provided, there are a number of categories that they fall in. There are some that made the approach to Bank of Ghana to get the license and then did not go back to them. Some were hiding operating, but Bank of Ghana have been able to ask them to stop the operation long time before they brought their names into the newspapers. Also, the second group that made a step but then died naturally. You go there, you find nothing. They've closed the offices long time, and we haven't had any complaint of they running away with anybody's money. And there are some that did not even start the operation at all. So there are some few ones that were in operation, and I know those ones, they were asked to pay depositors money a long time ago, which I believe most of them have done. Even if we have some few, there may not be that many within the group that has been published.
So if I get you right, as far as you're concerned, none of these companies that have been mentioned have taken depositors' money, that depositors should be worried that they can't get it back.
Yeah, but all of them, like, you know, this process has been in place for a long time. So we're also asking Bank of Ghana the same questions that you're asking us if they have people's money. They said these are ones that have not been operating at all. Some have died natural death. Some have not shown up for the additional materials that Bank of Ghana requested before they can get the full license. And then some even got the license, but for the last 2-3 years, they haven't operated.
So no worries for people who say with such microfinance institutions because your money is safe. Now, banking consultant Nana Utio Ichampom also tells Joy Business the action by the Bank of Ghana is long overdue.
The public outcry has been unprecedented, and now he's calling for the regulator to ensure that any financial institution that is in the system is properly regulated, and if they don't meet the regulatory metrics, then they have to be sanctioned. That the wholesale nature is what is surprising, that as many as 80 institutions have been sanctioned in one go.
It's Gamfin, and they are saying, engaging the Bank of Ghana, they understand that none of these companies have taken depositors' monies away, but it was...
Yes, indeed. If you look through the list, some of them have been trading for more than 10 years. So whilst others are fairly new. So I think I agree with them that a monitoring exercise that has been going on for a while.
And still in the microfinance sector, some affected clients of God is Love Investment Club are making renewed appeal to the Bank of Ghana for the release of their monies by the company. The depositors, numbering about 10,000, have had their funds locked up for about 9 months after the club's operations became suspicious. Even though the matter has been taken up by the Chief Justice, there has still not been any response, as they claim the Bank of Ghana is denying them access to their monies for unclear reasons. Dela Ewukubo speaks on behalf of the aggrieved persons.
The MPs met and we thought something positive could come out of it. Today is the 5th of January 2016. And then there's nothing happening. The management of the fan club, they are also not coming out to issue any statement to us as the customers to really know what is really happening. Last year, getting to the end of 2015, another issue that came up, that there's still a court case pending between Bank of Ghana and then God is Love fan club. And the case has been adjourned to May 2016 this year. And some of us were like, what exactly is happening? What exactly is happening? Because we were told the docket is with Chief Justice, so has Chief Justice released the docket? And then they have to now adjourn the case to May 2016, which is this year. We are just in the hands of the Lord.
Meanwhile, Joy Business is learning that management of the company over the festive period made payments of to some members of the club. The monies paid were, however, without the expected interest. Now, there are persistent calls for a review of some other new taxes following the suspension of the implementation of the withholding tax on income on investments. A review of the income tax resulted in the imposition of new taxes, including withholding taxes on services, which saw an increase from 5 to 15%. Tax consultant Alina Chia tells Joy Business these taxes also need to be reviewed to save businesses, emphasizing the need for stakeholder engagement in the process.
But you also look at the 15% withholding tax on services, which I find on a high side, because previously it was 5%. In the new law, withholding tax on goods has come down from 5 to 3%. For works, it's the same 5%, but for services, it's gone up from 5 to 15. And I was thinking that if in any case government has lost 2% by the reduction in the withholding tax for goods, it could add a 2 to that for services to make it 7. But to go to 50 is on the high side, because I'm wondering whether the services industry, their net margin is that high. If it is not above the 15% and you withhold 15% on the gross invoice, you are eating into the capital of such businesses. And that can affect their operations, to affect cash flow, and they are likely to fold up. That, I think, needs to be looked at. Then if you look at the 1% on all businesses that hitherto were enjoying tax holiday, for example, farming, depending on the type of crop. If you are into 3 crops or you are into cattle rearing, you had 10 years tax holiday. Today, during the 10 years tax holiday, you still pay 1%. If you're into agro-processing, 5 years holiday, you still pay 1%. So the question is, then there is no holiday. Don't call it a tax holiday.
Meanwhile, private businesses continue to lament the negative implication of the new withholding taxes on their operations. Indigenous brewery giant Casapreco is the latest to add its voice to this. The managing director, Richard Ejay, is worried the development, if not reversed, may affect job creation in the country.
Taxes are imposed on businesses, certainly our profitability goes down a bit. But as a company, we cannot say that we will not operate because of the taxes. I mean, once the government implements the law, we just have to oblige. But certainly, it hurts the business in a way, because as a government, we feel local companies like Casapreco should be helped more instead of imposing more taxes on it. But for sure, taxes does affect our profitability.
All right, so time to go into the stock and commodity markets. It's day 2 of working day for this year, and you're wondering how they're faring. John is here. John, I mean, a while ago, I went through the stock markets, and the picture is a bit better than yesterday.
It is better. It is good. If you had actually invested in the market, assuming you had put almost all your money in financial equities, you would have made about 25% today in 2 days. That's how the market behaves. Basically, today we had almost about 168,000 shares actually trading at a total cost of 1.160 million Ghana cedis. Wow. That's exactly what it is. So wow. Liquidity in terms of that has been very, very high. Okay, right. That's exactly what we're looking at. And so far, the financial stock, talking about Carl Bank, Societe Generale, Total, and then UT Bank, I-10 also lost some money today. Oh. But of course, that's the only equity that lost some money. Apart from that, all 4 trading equities today
at least we had them moving the market.
Exactly so. So that actually led the market to gain some value totally, bringing the market capitalization to about 57 billion. That's quite significant for 2 days in trading. That's how so far it is.
And John, some good news for the cedi.
The cedi so far has been so good for 2 days running because it's been gaining against all major trading currencies. I mean, the dollar, the pound, the euro, and the Chinese yuan as well. Right. So basically, that has been the market. It's been so good. But on the commodities market, we are not seeing different stuff. Okay, cocoa keeps losing. Gold beginning to gain some value here and there.
I'm not happy with cocoa. Since last year, it's been losing.
It's been losing. It's been losing variously, but I think so far that's how it is. But crude today hit below the $36 mark today. Okay, it's been quite unstable over the period, and that is giving a lot of exporting countries some worries. or concerns to worry about, because Ghana being one of them, Nigeria and other African countries, naturally it's going to affect their revenue generation capacity. And also on the international market, the New York Mercantile Exchange is reporting that oil lost something close to about 62 cents to close at that. So I think it's been so far not too good for the international market, but the rest has been quite okay.
Thank you, John. Good and bad news. So you know where to invest. My name is Etunam Same, and that's how we wrap up for today.
You're welcome back to Joy News Prime. Now, some minority members of parliament are raising questions about the latest fuel price hikes following the passage of the Energy Sector Levy Bill 2015, saying the increases that have been implemented is not what they were made to believe have been brought for them to approve. The bill was introduced under a certificate of urgency on the last day of sitting in December. Some minority members, including Old Tafo MP Dr. Anthony Akutose and Adansia Sokwa MP Katie Hammond, who first raised concerns on the floor, were told by the Deputy Finance Minister that the tax was going to result in a decrease in prices, actually. Well, the House eventually approved the bill, resulting in an almost 30% increase in the prices of some petroleum products. And some members of the Mines and Energy Committee are questioning the latest increases. Joy News' parliamentary correspondent, Elton John Brobe, has been going through the act and says it appears, contrary to the claims of the minority, that they were not informed about the increases. It appears everything else is in there in the act, and he's going to be telling us about it. Good evening, Elton, and thanks for making time. So you've been through the act. The minority is saying that essentially they were hoodwinked, in that what they were made to pass wasn't what has been implemented. But from your checks in the act, it appears that they were actually wrong.
Exactly, because it contains everything. If you want to go through the bill, the Energy Sector Levies Bill 2015, it contains everything that government is communicating now. What I can understand from the point of the minority is that they were not given ample time to scrutinize the bill, because it came under a certificate of urgency after it was first referred to the Energy and the Finance Committee to consider it on the 21st of December. Now, this was passed at the time Parliament was in the process of debating the appropriation bill and the $1 billion Euro bond, and was also about to go on recess. So there wasn't much time for anybody to consider anything beyond what was before Parliament. So even though the document was presented on the floor by the chairman of the Finance Committee and the Mines and Energy Committee, Amadou Sorogo, and seconded by Katie Hammond, there was no protestation on the floor of Parliament regarding this particular issue. That's how come it passed off without any controversy. It was later that people, went through the document that they came to the realization that perhaps what we approved on the floor was much deeper than what we were told. Because if you want to go to the document here, it talks about the fact that they needed to pass this bill at the time because fuel prices were going to go up on Wednesday, 23rd December 2015. Basically because the road fund components on the price of petroleum product had gone up from 27 to 40 pesos on a liter of fuel. Right. And then also, there was also the introduction of a 5 Ghana peso on diesel and LPG as a price stabilization recovery margin. It goes on and on to the 9th point, which talks about also introduction of 5 Ghana pesos per liter on petrol, diesel, and other issues. So this was the main concern for members of Parliament, and for them, the increase was going to be very marginal. So therefore, there wasn't the need for them to protest it. But if you want to go to the document, you will find out that it talks.
Take us through the documents and those other parts that indicate that actually we're going to pay a lot more.
Yes. For example, and I've been told by some people in government or authority that the energy debt recovery levy, this is where the 28% increment we're experiencing now will go, especially. Now we are talking about government needing about $90 million every month to fuel the generating plant so that we can completely address this energy crisis. And a bulk of the $90 million is coming from how much you are paying for a gallon of diesel or petrol. Now, under the Energy Debt Recovery Levy, there is a foreign exchange under recovery, and this is 5 Ghana pesos per each liter on petrol or diesel that you buy.
Bit.
Exactly. And there's also a power generation and infrastructure support, and this is 28 Ghana pesos per each liter of diesel or petrol or you buy. There's also a Tema oil refinery company debt recovery, and this was an issue on the floor because people needed to know how much we've paid so far, how much is left, and when are we going to finish? Because this has been on the books for as far as I can remember.
Like forever, really.
And this is easy. This is 4 Ghana pesos per each liter on diesel or petrol. And then you can look at foreign exchange under recovery, and this is 5 Ghana pesos per kilogram. Power generation and infrastructure support, 28 Ghana pesos per kilogram, and Tema oil refinery. So if you want to take a look at all this, there's also 5% per price of kilowatt hour of electricity charge on all categories of consumers.
Right. So people are going to pay, people who buy fuel are going to pay a component of this energy debt recovery levy.
Exactly.
And then again, it's going to reflect on our electricity bills.
You are absolutely right. And this is under the energy debt recovery levy.
And yet the parliamentarians are saying that they were not aware when they were passing this.
Their concentration, I'm told, was on the road fund and then the other levies, and pushed together, that would give you between 2.9 and 5% increments on petroleum products. But they fell short in going through the entire document. Because if you should go through the entire document and do the calculation well,
does it mean that this does not go to
valid?
They did not go before a committee, the subcommittee in Parliament?
It went to a committee. It was a joint committee that considered this. This is the finance and the mines and the energy. But usually after the consideration, the committee will have to present their report to the plenary, that's the committee of the whole, and then the speaker will open the floor for debate. Because it came under a certificate of agencies, all these were sidestepped.
All right.
So there wasn't any time for anybody to argue on anything, because according to government, they needed to avoid people hoarding fuel and agitation that there was going to be an increment. An increment had already taken it, for needed to give it that legal backing.
Okay. Now, government has also been reacting to the claims by the minority that they were not made aware of this. It's on my Joy Online, and Haruna Idrisu has been speaking to it. So, Employment and Labour Relations Minister Haruna Idrisu says increased utility tariffs and some fresh taxes are meant to help President Mahama fulfill his promise to fix Ghana's cyclical energy crisis once and for all. Explanation comes after a meeting with organized labor pushing for a reduction in the tariffs ended in deadlock. And we'll be bringing you that story a bit later. But thank you very much, Elting, for joining us with those details. We're taking a break. When we come back, we'll bring you international news. Right, so Lord has just joined me to tell us what's coming up on Joy News Interactive. Good evening to you, Lord.
Good evening, Ijo. Okay, so listen to this. Story of a 41-year-old man who committed suicide after having an argument with his wife has got lots of people talking. Also, the people of who are contending with severe water shortage. Can you relate? And finally, artist Wiser could pay a fine of up to 120 cedis if he is found guilty of misdemeanor. But many people think it is simple.
The amount is too small. The constitution needs to be reviewed so that when next time somebody commits such a crime, he pay about maybe 5,000 or 10,000. I think everybody will not try that.
Okay, so I'll be back after an hour to read all your comments on social media platforms. This is the interactive segment, and it's brought to you by Airtel.
Right, thank you very much, Lord. So we'll have that. We'll have all the comments, and I'm sure you're waiting, you're eager to get your tabs and react to the story about Wiser having to pay 120 cedis. 120 cedis? Well, you get to hear all about that when we come back in the second hour. But we also have entertainment and sports coming up. Please stay tuned. You're watching Joy News Prime Time now for a recap of our top stories. And 7 people have been confirmed dead in a meningitis outbreak in the Brahafo region district of Time. Now, there was confusion at a news conference in Nkranza in the Brahafo region as an MP attempted to intervene in the situation of customers of a microfinance company whose monies have been locked up. Police in Accra arrest military officers said to be part of a car snatching gang. And in business, Bank of Ghana revoked licenses of 70 microfinance and money lending companies. Right, still to come in the bulletin, the Accra region of the driver vehicle and licensing authority has seen quite a return of long queues at their offices. We'll have that story in a bit. The rehearsal of lamentations that failed to reach any decision on a reduction in utility price increases. That is how the Industrial and Commercial Workers Union, ICU, is describing the first round of talks with government over organized labor's demand to reverse recent hikes in electricity and water tariffs. The meeting at the Flagstaff House was also attended by the Trade Union Congress. General Secretary of the ICU, Solomon Kote, tells Joy News they were mainly inundated with the challenges facing government, for which reason the upward reviews in the utility tariffs cannot be reversed.
Well, you could see the give and take on the issues. If you look on the side of the stakeholders, that is GridCo, UCG, water, they really have got challenges, okay? Challenges that if we don't take care, they would ground to a halt and nothing can happen again in this country. Then on the other side, the equation must all the time be balanced. If you take that of labor as well and you take that of the employer, this time around, labor has teamed up with the employer because without the employer, we cannot be there. The pressure and the burden over there is also collapsing the businesses. So which one do we take and which one do we hold? So with I would call it a rehearsal of lamentations of problems on the other side. They lamented on their position, we also lamented on our position, and with the 2 hours that we sat in there, it came out that, look, let's re-engage again. So we believe 1 week interval should be okay for both parties to reflect deeply. Well, employers have given a signal that if this thing should continue this way, already our multinational companies that we have here, they've started ceding away some of their products to Cote d'Ivoire and nearby countries, where ostensibly power is cheaper, power is better than here it is now. So it means we are getting lines of our various ports shut. We are getting workers also becoming redundant on the job. And if this will happen again, then it means we are going to see real redundancies being flashed on our face.
The Accra Region Office of the Driver Vehicle and Licensing Authority has seen a return of the long queues of vehicles which usually form at the beginning of each year, mainly of owners eager to have 2016 number plates on their vehicles. The queues are so long, they spill over right onto the highway adjacent the DVLA office, all the way to the precincts of the 37 Military Hospital. Joy News' Justice Bedu, who has been observing the phenomenon, reports the long queues, much as it is frustrating, offers business opportunities for others who take their trade to the frustrated vehicle owners who sometimes have to be at the DVLA all day.
Long winding queues going nowhere. This is the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority offices in Accra. Everybody here wants to be the first to display the car number plate for 2016 on their new vehicles.
Once people decide to stop registration of their vehicles, when it gets into the close of the year, definitely what we are seeing now, we'll continue to see it. Because if you bring in your vehicle and then around September, you refuse to register the vehicle, waiting to come and register in the first week of January, then definitely there will be the pressure you are seeing.
But this chaos here now is creating a site of its own. A kinky shop, a drinking spot right behind, and even a second-hand clothes dealer. These are things that will not usually be associated with vehicle licensing. But the sheer number of people who gather here at the beginning of every year only to have their vehicles registered for the number for that particular year mean this place, which is the offices of the DVLA, is a hub for brisk activities, buying and selling. And the result of that It's the sheer number of hours that you have to wait to get your vehicle registered and the frustration that comes with it.
The place in there is so small, the cars could not even go in there. You can have just a few cars in the yard. So, and you see over here, it's just like a marketplace now. People selling all kinds of stuff here. So that's Ghana for you, you know. Nothing goes forward. You can't, you know, if you look at the whole situation here, people have to go to work. People have to do certain things to get a living. So if you are stuck here for 2 days, how do you make a living out of this?
I was here since 6 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, I was here 6 o'clock in the morning and we're queuing. They called some cars, I think 150 cars, and then now they have stopped the cars. They say when they finish the first batch before they will call us. So we are still in the queue waiting. Yeah.
For now, these are someone would say a cocoa season because we have more cars coming in for registration. I mean the taxis. So we do in a day we can do about 15 cars. Yes, that is in a day, 15 cars. Yes.
But on a normal day, how much would you do?
On a normal day, we do like 5, 6, 7. Yeah. But in January, we do like 15 to 20 cars in a day.
This is an annual ritual, and as car owners will change the trend of waiting to register their cars in the first week of January, such frustration seems far from over. Justice Bedu, Joy News, Accra.
Well, so they'll do all this simply because when they want to sell the vehicle, they would want to sell the vehicle in a year or suggest that they have they bought a vehicle or they registered the vehicle in a year that's pretty close. So if you want to sell the vehicle in 2018, you can say that it's a 2016 registered vehicle, and so it gets better value. In other news, residents of the Volta Regional Capital who are still struggling to get potable water, the taps stopped flowing 4 days to Christmas, and the situation has not improved till date. Some of the residents have been speaking with Joy News about how they're coping.
Well, I must say it's been difficult for some time because we are not used to such situations. We've been hearing of this in Accra, Adenta, and all that, but in Volta region, especially in the regional capital, we are not used to such. But since it started, we are finding it very difficult. Those of us at the residential area, like the flat, it is very difficult for us for some time now. For about a week, there's no water. Water is not flowing, so sometimes we have to depend on you have to come to town and then traveling all the way from flat to town and then taking gallons and all that kind of thing. It's difficult for us at the flat.
So it means you go and try to climb up?
Certainly, we have to go and then climb up. Those of us at the last floor, so it's very, very difficult because you have to climb and with all those gallons up to there, it's very difficult for us.
And for those of us who are not lucky to have so much resources to get the water, it means you have to look elsewhere, possibly depend on a well or something else to get your water. It's been challenging. Several calls to the Ghana Water Company, they're not telling us anything. I think they need to tell us what is really happening.
The Ghana Water Company is promising residents of Ho that their problem will be resolved by tomorrow. Stanley Mate, the communications manager of the Ghana Water Company, has been speaking on the pulse.
One pump at the headworks, a trip off. The bearings got broken, and we had to replace it immediately because we had a spare one. So in less than 48 hours, that has been done, and water started flowing. Now, on the 3rd of January this year, we had a serious burst along the transmission main. And from the Quiver headworks in the Volta region that serves Ho, there's one transmission main that feeds the reservoir on one of the hills, and then from that reservoir, it goes by gravity into the whole municipality. Now, because of the leakage on the transmission main, we had to shut down to have that line repaired. And that has been done within 24 hours. And water now is flowing through the whole municipality. Now, you know, when it so happens, when anytime there's there's a break in production. What actually happens is that all the pipelines are depleted, and water is not as fast and quick as light. So when we start production, it takes a lot of time to get the air gaps that have filled into the pipelines off, and then slowly it moves into people's homes, and then gradually pressures are built. So we are sure that by close of day today, all areas within home municipalities should have access to water. Now, Francis, I heard the earlier speakers, and I think they have exaggerated on the situation. Okay, but I don't want to discuss that. But with some of the Facebook comments, okay, now what we are saying is that the water situation has improved. They have had new equipment, they have had new treatment plants. They're trying to change some of the pipelines. But because some of these things are, even human beings, even when you buy a new car, okay, although you could have a new car, it could develop a problem.
Watching Joy News Prime, we're taking a break. When we come back, we'll bring you entertainment.
Entertainment news is brought.
Right, time for entertainment, and Miss G, the new look Miss G. I'm wondering, how many days more do I have to say the new look Miss G?
Okay, for as long as I have this, you can say it, because very soon I go back to the signature hair. You know, everybody is asking, oh, when am I going to see the kakai hair? You know, very soon.
Does it have anything to do with
Shatawale? He needs to pay me for carrying that hair. You know, and when he's ready to shoot the music video, he should come for my hair, you know.
So I saw this tweet. Somebody said, he starts off by saying, hi, hi, hi. And then the person on the other end responds and said, yeah, Shatawale. And the person said, no, I was just saying hi.
Oh. So it's no more kai, it's hi, hi, hi. Anyway.
All right, so what's coming up?
A lot coming up. You know, people keep saying that Ghanaian movies are not doing well. Kumahood movies are whack. You know, that's what people say. But guess who loves Kumahood movies?
I think the president posted something.
You got it right. President Mahama has been enjoying himself. He has been watching a lot of Kumahood movies. Now, he said that he watched Obroni Hieni, and then he also watched Shawbanka, which is a collaboration between Ghana and Nigeria, and he loved it too. He actually said that, you know, he posted a tweet that, oh, Israel, why?
Did he watch it for real? Okay.
He said he did.
I've seen the tweet. Usually if the president tweets himself, he adds a JM to it.
And this time around, he hashtag Ghana movie, GH movie.
Yeah, but there was no JM to it. Okay. I'm suspecting that
it's 2016.
His Twitter handlers just posted something.
Oh, I don't think so. You know, because earlier last year, the president had actually endorsed some of these personalities that are featured in these movies. So I'm not surprised that he had the time to sit down and watch these movies and actually loves them, you know.
I'm saying that if the president tweets himself, if you look at his Twitter account, it says that tweets by the president are signed off as JM.
Oh, really?
There was no JM.
So, Mr. President, did somebody hack into your account?
Nobody hacked into his Twitter handlers.
Oh,
you know,
are you one of them?
They're doing PR for
Are you
the
one
president.
of them?
They're doing
the
PR.
way you're talking about it looks like you know something we do not know.
No. It's stated, if you go into his official Twitter account, it's stated that tweets by the president are signed off as JM.
I see.
But anyway, I mean, well, yeah, he wants
Obroni Hieni.
Obroni Hieni.
Hey, and then Shawbanka.
Is the president sure that he made time to watch Obroni Hieni?
No, he said he did. He said he did. Well, you know, just to cool off some stress, you know.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, President. Thank you,
and
JM.
I'm sure the people who were behind the Kumahood movies will be so happy.
Yeah, they'll be so happy.
They'll say, I can imagine them now advertising their movies like President Crash B1 and 2.
Now, Obroni, so Obroni Hieni would they would have to do another promo.
And then what would they say in that one?
JM's endorsement.
You see that thing?
By JM.
You see
the president
himself. Anyway, guess which other movie someone is loving? EL is loving Yvonne Okoro for her new movie called Ghana Must Go. It premiered on the 2nd of January.
Well, yeah, I was speaking to a colleague earlier today who also said that the movie is quite good.
Yes, the movie is interesting because it has two different nationalities, you know, bringing the perspective about life to bear in the movie. So we have a Ghanaian family that had to have married and from a Nigerian family, and so they're trying to blend you know, with the cultural backgrounds of these two. So it's you can actually relate to it if you've had an encounter with Nigerians, if you're Ghanaian, and if you're Nigerian and you've had encounters with Ghanaians, you can. And you know, Yvonne Okoro, you can trust her for anything that is comical. She's there. She knows how to, you know, get you cracking up. It is, but you get to learn some good things from that movie as well.
The president must watch it.
Yeah, maybe he needs to watch this one too, so that Ghana won't go, because the movie is Ghana Must Go. You know, you need to watch this one as well, but it's a good one. And EL says Yvonne Okoro is his favorite actress so far. After watching Ghana Must Go, he's so much in love with Yvonne Okoro.
Well, there's lots of things to love about Yvonne Okoro.
Oh, tell me. Hey.
She's a sweet babe.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah. So what's there to love about her?
That's a lot. I mean, look at her.
I can see her, but I don't know what you're talking about. What specifically are these things?
Okay, you can go and ask EL. Let's go on.
I should ask EL, Anyway, so imagine Ochiami Kwame's children trying to sing Bisake this brother, brother. And one of them is telling the other that it's not brother or brother, it's brother, brother, you know. And Ochiami Kwame says that, you know, his children do not know the difference between music and speech. Well, this is his New Year message to his fans. So, you know that thing, you know, broad day, it's not broad day, it's brother, brother.
No, you can't sing it that way.
Exactly, that's what the chairman was trying to say, that, you know.
Broad day.
And that one sounds better than brother, brother.
The person who did the song says broad. Just like if Michael Jackson does a song or Wiz Khalifa or anything, you have to, if you're singing it in the tone.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's like, oh, brodo. Anyway, so today is John Dumelo's mom's birthday. She turned 64 today, and the dude took a beautiful picture with the mom, and it's trending. That's the picture rolling on your screens. John Dumelo and his mother, showing her some love. That's the picture he posted.
That's
nice. And the mom is 64 years today. Good for John Dumelo.
It's a beautiful photo.
Like someone in his sugar mommy, you know, kind of.
Well, yeah, I mean, somebody could mistaken it for John Dumelo's sugar.
Yeah, if he didn't say, maybe we would have started, you know, thinking that, you know, that's his newest catch, sorry, you know, if he hadn't told us that was his mom.
All right, happy birthday, mommy.
Yeah, he didn't invite us for jollof.
Probably now that we've talked about it,
yes.
She's going to
John Dumelo, invite Israel and I for jollof. Tell your mom we want to eat mommy's jollof. Yes.
Ghana jollof.
Yes.
Better than
you know that
jollof.
I don't know where that came from, and this is all over the place. You know, people keep talking about the difference between Ghanaian jollof and Nigerian jollof.
Niger jollof.
Have you tasted Nigerian jollof before?
No, but I don't think it will be anything like jollof.
Oh.
Yeah.
Really? That's serious? You don't think it will be anything like jollof? Oh my goodness. That's a serious one. Anyway, I know.
Like amala.
You know, you don't just say amala, you say amala dudu.
Oh, okay.
You know what we have here is not amala. We have kokonte, and kokonte is quite whiter. In Nigeria, they have amala dudu, black amala. That's black kokonte.
Which kokonte is white?
Which
kokonte have you been eating?
Oh my goodness. It's brighter than amala. It's brighter than amala, I tell you. Go for a Nigerian wedding and say you want to eat amala dudu.
Yeah.
Israel is as black as, I don't know. All
right.
But okay, still to come. I know it's going to come up in interactive. Weiser's case, you know, our own Samson Ladi Ayenini has been telling us that, but for Weiser's lawyers' attempt to say that what he showed was fake, Weiser would have only paid 120 Ghana cedis if he was found guilty.
I heard it and I was like, what?
Yes. And so why wouldn't you just let it go and pay 120 Ghana cedis, you know? But, you know, Samson spoke to Rhythms A to Z.
The law is clear on it. It's a misdemeanor, and the sanction it attracts is a maximum of 120 Ghana cedis. You'll be giving the fine. If he is unable to pay in default of the fine, then you go into jail. I do not see any judge saying he should pay the fine and go to jail at the same time. In any case, it's a misdemeanor, and in a misdemeanor, your inability to satisfy the fine that is imposed on you will attract just a couple of weeks in prison, perhaps just 1 or 2 months in prison. That's about it.
I mean, I think
yeah.
take it and
Well, I don't know what happened. I was asking myself, didn't this lawyer know about this? Why don't you just let...
Okay, so I actually flew with Wiser, and I think there were two other people who were with him to Kumasi.
Did he kick you?
No, he didn't kick me. But I mean, there was the edge to have a conversation with him about all that happened. But for some reason, I felt that let me just leave him.
Oh no, I know you, Israel. Why did you leave him?
Yeah, because I kind of felt sorry for him.
I do as well. I think that a lot of people are just being too judgmental, you know.
Well, not being judgmental. I mean, the criticisms that's coming his way is his own doing.
Well, yes, so but he's apologized for.
He did the crime. He did the crime.
He's apologized for. At least, you know, personally, I think Wiser is better than some people who never even bother to apologize to us.
Well, yeah, and that's cool. I mean, the apology came in quite handy. That's good.
Now, you remember some time back I told you about the 93 Days movie being shot in Nigeria. They had to bring Danny Glover all the way to Nigeria, the Ebola movie. Now, the family of the Ada divorce are not too happy with this movie. They have actually released, have a press release. They have a press release. Issued a statement to say that they are not happy because some scenes in the movie do not depict exactly what happened, and they only were given the script of this movie after it had been shot, and so they are suing the company that put together the 93 Days movie that talks about Ebola, because Dr. Adedivo of blessed memory has been misrepresented in this movie. So that's the latest on the, but it's yet to be premiered though. We'll see how it builds up in the subsequent days, and we'll see what happens with the movie. 93 Days. And finally, before I take leave of you, Bill Cosby.
Yeah, I'm told he's not too well.
Yeah. You know, I hear he's going blind gradually. That's what his lawyer tells us, that he's not too well. And you know, first his wife was asked to come, you know, testify in court, and she said that she wasn't in a position to do so, but she's been forced to because it's mandatory for her as per the case. And now the lawyer has come out to say that, you know, Bill is having problems with the eye, so we don't know how this is going to unfold. Well, we can only wish him well.
Yeah, we can wish him well. We can wish him well. I feel sorry for him though.
So that's it for entertainment. Israel.
Right. Thank you very much, Ms. G, for bringing us entertainment and all the hot gossips and all that about Yvonne Okoro. And
Israel Bobby Lai. Thank you very much.
That's it for entertainment. We will be back with sports. Please stay.
Entertainment.
Good evening to you, Gary.
Good evening, Israel.
All right, what's coming up in sports today?
A bit of news involving the Ghana Football Association president, who wants government to help clubs when they are going to play in the African competitions. And we also have some news on Rafa Benitez and Zinedine Zidane being announced as the new coach of Real Madrid.
I'm curious about
the first one.
The first one.
Yeah. So you know, when teams qualify for the African Champions League and the Confederations Cup, they don't get any help from the government, but the GFA wants the government
do they need help from the government?
If there's government money, everybody will take.
Yeah, because I can't imagine Real Madrid qualifying for the Champions League and saying that they need money from...
It works in different ways, so it works in different ways.
Take it away.
Anyway, thank you for joining us on the Sport on Prime. Hello, I'm Gary Al Smith. Now, government should help clubs representing Ghana and Africa in both the Champions League and the Confederations Cup. That's according to GFA boss Kwesi Nyantakyi. For years, this has not been the case, and clubs have struggled most of the time. Especially in the last 10 to 15 years, we've seen clubs qualify for African Champions League competition or CAF Confederations Cup competitions and withdraw. It has led to embarrassing situations for Ghana. Nyantakyi feels the government must start chipping in.
Participating in Africa is a very expensive venture. Any club that goes into Africa will spend, if you get to the money zone, you will spend not less than $700,000 to $800,000. And so it is a very expensive venture, and the government must help the clubs. In most countries, especially in Francophone Africa, the costs are borne by the government. And when they participate, they are doing it on behalf of Ghana. When Ash Gold appears in Morocco or Midiama appears in Liberia, It is Ghana. They will say the Ghana team. They are not going to say Ash Gold. Many people may not even remember the name of the club. So when they are representing Africa, it is a cause that we must all support as a national cause and not a club cause or a GFA cause.
That was Kwesi Nyantechi there. And on Thursday, we don't have Ghana Premier League football, but on that day, there will be the start of a pre-season tournament that we hope will bring some excitement into the local atmosphere. The Galka G6, they call it. It will be happening in the Western region. There will be 6 teams. The 6 teams that finished first to 6th last season will be put in 2 groups, Group A and B. And Alhaji Ali Raji, the boss of Galka, is anticipating a good show.
Football is very dynamic. And we moved from top 4, then we attempted top 8, now we are back to top 6.
You can watch that full interview on the Joy News Facebook page. Coming back home though, the Ghana University Sports Association Games, or the GUSA Games, will start on Thursday, the 7th of January. We spoke to the chairman of publicity for the games, Steve Kamasa.
As we all know, Ghana University Sports Association Games brings together all the public universities in Ghana to participate in various disciplines in sports. This year we are hosting it at Winneba, University of Education Winneba, and we are introducing some new aspects in the games. For example, we are having the goal ball. Goal ball is for the handicapped, and is played by the blind. So as part of including people with disability in our activities, we are introducing goal ball in this year's games for the blind to also participate in. We are also introducing volley for the students, and they're also going to compete for it. It's a novelty. For the next games, we are supposed to bring in traditional games like Ampe, Ludu, and the rest, so that the coverage or the participation will not be only the physical aspects of sports, but also the interactive aspect will also be highlighted. This year's theme is developing and sustaining sporting talents for national development. If you go through this, the theme is a very broad theme, but what we want to do is that we've realized that sports, in the country, is the learned or the academics are not getting involved in sports. What we want to do is that we want to develop them whilst they are from the SSS to the university, and then they go on, keep on doing their sports or doing their disciplines alongside their various subjects they are doing in the university, so that when they finish and they want to continue with their sports, they can continue, because the age is right at our university level. There's no cheating when people come to the university. I'm not saying nationally we are cheating anyway, but you get the age right, and you get the personal development also right for a sports person to improve and then sustain it as a professional person.
So that's about the GUSA Games. And finally, we have a report on Joseph Agbeko's bout that is coming this year. You know, he's now a super bantamweight, and we feel that we need to drum up the attention ahead of his bout that's coming in a couple of weeks. So here's a report by Nathaniel Ato.
30 wins and 5 losses. The story of the professional record of ex-IBF bantamweight champion Joseph Agbeko, who is prominent in the thin list of Ghanaian contenders for possible world titles in 2016. In his last 5 bouts, Agbeko has fluffed the opportunity to annex the WBC silver and the IBF bantamweight titles. And this is something the 35-year-old boxer wants to correct going into this year. The ex-champion has moved up in weight, just like other boxers do with age, and wants to make a major impact like he did in the bantamweight division. Obviously, fighting on home soil has brought big strains of luck to Agbeko, and the upcoming tune-up bout here in Ghana could follow the trend. The opponent is yet to be named, but clearly the idea of a tune-up bout is a good one for Agbeko, who last fought in May last year and recorded a 4th-round knockout win. His advantage will be hand speed and aggression, which was described by the Ring magazine in 2007 as in with the new, out with the old. Once he's able to exert this style consistently in the upcoming bout, he will surely record his 36th win. But of course, with the dreaded Guillermo Rigondeaux out of the way after he was stripped of his titles, the biggest option for Agbeko is undefeated IBF Super Bantamweight champion Carl Frampton. The Brit will fight WBA Super Bantamweight champion Scott Quigg later in February, and the winner is likely to grant Agbeko a defense later this year.
So, after hearing about Joseph Agbeko, that's how we end the sport for now. That report was by Nathaniel Atto. We'll be back tomorrow with more, but head over to myjoyonline.com/sport for more. I'm Gary Al Smith.